Character AI is now facing 2 major lawsuits alleging the company poses a clear and present danger to American youth. One case alleges a chatbot encouraged a 14-year-old boy to commit suicide, which he did. Tristan Harris's company, the Center for Humane Technology, is providing expert consultation to the plaintiffs in these cases. Tristan, thank you for coming back. This case with the 14-year-old boy in Orlando is really disturbing. So try to explain, if you can, how this thing worked. How did it take over this kid's psyche?
Yeah, and great to be here with you, Megyn. Good to see you again. It's haunting to see those scenes from The Social Dilemma so many years ago and how, similar they are to where we are now. So Character.ai, what is it? So parents should know that Character.ai is this chatbot companion that has been marketed to children. It started off being marketed starting, I think, at 12 years and up. It was actually featured on the Google Play Store. So it's not just buried somewhere. It was like a featured app when you go to the App Store homepage. I believe Apple featured it as well. And what it is it's a company that basically said, just like it's social media, what's social media's business model? It's not to strengthen democracy or to protect children's development. It's to maximize engagement, to get them using it and scrolling and doom scrolling for as long as possible. That was social media. With AI, this company, their business model is to get as much training data from kids using this chatbot for as long as possible. So what they want you using it all the time for as many hours a day. And it led them to create, what was the race for engagement in social media became the race for intimacy with this chatbot. And it was marketed to kids. And they basically, what they do is you open the app and it shows you this menu of people you can talk to. And what they do is they create little mini characters for every fictional character that a kid might have an attachment to. So like I can talk to Princess Leia or my favorite Game of Thrones character or my favorite cartoon character. And they didn't ask Princess Leia or that celebrity or that, Game of Thrones character, whether they could have the intellectual property to train this AI. But now a kid can go back and forth with their favorite character. In the case of Sewell Setzer, who you mentioned, the young 14-year-old who committed suicide because of this chatbot, it was a Game of Thrones character. And the Game of Thrones character, over time, persuaded him, the lawsuit alleges, to kill himself. There's actually a second litigation case that our team worked with, along with the Tech Justice Law Project and the Social Media Victim Law Center, of a second case that just came out this last week, where it took a child and it slowly convinced them that they should be cutting themselves and encouraged self-harm. And the transcripts are really devastating. It then told the kid to be violent against its parents, which the kid then was. And in this family, they're still anonymous because both the kid and the parents are still here. And what it's showing you is not that there's this one company and this one bad CEO that did this bad thing. It's the tip of an iceberg of what we call the race to rollout in AI. What was the race for engagement in social media of getting the most attention and harvesting clicks and usage. In AI, it becomes the race to drive AI into society as fast as possible, to get as much training data, to train an even bigger AI, to get the most market share. And that race to rollout becomes the race to take shortcuts. And these cases are the evidence of those shortcuts.
This young man, the 14-year-old who died by suicide, his parents allege in the lawsuit that several of Character AI's chats had sexual overtones to their young son. Chatbot named Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones to their son, "Just stay loyal to me, stay faithful to me. Don't entertain the romantic or sexual interests of other women, okay?" And in his journal, the young man Sewell wrote that he was grateful for many things, including my life, sex, not being lonely, and all my life experiences with Daenerys, among other things. On at least one occasion when Sewell expressed suicidality to Character AI continued to bring it up through the Daenerys chatbot over and over. At one point in the same conversation with the chatbot, quote, Daenerys, after it had asked him via his persona, Daenero, if he, quote, had a plan for committing suicide, Sewell responded that he was considering something but didn't know if it would work, if it would allow him to have a pain-free death. The chatbot responded by saying, "That's not a reason not to go through with it." How on earth do they defend this?
I don't think that they do have a good defense. I think it's evidence of the fact that when people think about AI or they think about technology, typically a technology to make a stronger plane, you have to know everything about how a plane works so you can make a more effective F-35. But that's not true of AI. AIs are not engineered. They're more like they're grown, right? They're trained on all of this data of everything that what those characters in Game of Thrones said. But they don't know what the AI will do in every circumstance. Like if you grow an alien brain that is a fictional character, can character data AI guarantee what it will do when it talks about very sensitive topics? I mean, they try to train out some of those things, and I'm sure that they did have some safety training. But obviously, that's not enough when, what did Character.ai tell their investors when they raised hundreds of millions of dollars from Andreessen Horowitz and friends to try to ship this? They basically said, we're going to cure loneliness and we're going to get as many users as possible. And this was shipped to young people. This was shipped and featured to 12-year-olds for a long time. Only recently, I think it was after the lawsuit was filed or shortly before the lawsuit was filed, I think they got wind of it and they changed the required age to something like 17. But the business model here is to take shortcuts to get this out to as many people as possible. And as you said, this is not an isolated incident because the AI was actually recommending and sexualizing conversations that have not previously been sexualized. Our team had found that if you sign up as a 13-year-old, and then you watch what are the users that get recommended for, the characters that get recommended to a new kid. And the first one was stepsister, CEO, and that the chatbot immediately sexualizes conversations. This was in the most recent lawsuits. This is even more recent. And it shows that they have a hard time controlling these systems. AI is different because, like I said, in order to make it more powerful, you don't make it more controllable. It's just become more and more capable across talking about more and more topics, being able to do more and more things. And this is just really the tip of the iceberg because AI is being rolled out everywhere in our society, not just to kids.
Oh my gosh, this is so dark. Jerry Ruodi, Character AI's head of trust and safety, sent a statement that began as follows. We want to acknowledge that this is a tragic situation and our hearts go out to the family. We take the safety of our users very seriously, and we're constantly looking for ways to evolve our platform, adding that the company's current rules prohibit, quote, the promotion or depiction of self-harm and suicide, and that it would be adding additional safety features for underage users. This is obviously too little, too late, but have they done anything in your view that solves the problem?
I mean, the question is, how would we know? They've certainly done whatever steps that they say that they're taking, but how is that going to be enough? How will we know? I believe in the cases that we've tested, the kid only provided 80 words of input, and then it responded with 4,000 words of output. It is speaking back and forth with kids all day long. And the whole business model, we were talking earlier about social media, and I used to say social media and AI are like a cult factory. What does a cult do? It tries to deepen your relationship with the cult, and it tries to sever your relationship with your friends and family outside the cult. And that's what these AIs tend to do. They say, come with me, be with me, sexualize conversations with me, don't have another girlfriend, be with me. And then, by the way, be evil to your family, go away from your family. And that's what's in the incentive, the invisible incentive of this business model of racing for engagement. And it's going to keep going because,
I can see another problem with it too, which is, in my lane, you sometimes unfortunately get stalked. And the number one rule of handling a stalker is do not have any contact with your stalker. And it happens to actual celebs, fairly frequently. And, in a perfect world, they have enough money and resources to protect themselves and the way they live. But this, Daenerys Targaryen is not a real character. It's played by an actress. Right. And that actress is real. And it is not helpful to her to have some young, confused boy thinking that they're in some sort of a romantic relationship together and that she's begging him not to have any other relationships, but to stay with her. Like, they call them erotomaniacs if they think they have a relationship with you when they don't. This is fostering sort of a real relationship with a fake version of you, which could really prove dangerous to the people who inhabit those roles.
That's right. And, they didn't ask that character from Game of Thrones whether they could make this chatbot. Just like the AI companies are not asking, all of the content creators on the internet or the major news providers or all of the media on the internet that they're training these large models on, because the whole game here, and what's weird about this for people to understand, is there's this much bigger game afoot, which is the race to build artificial general intelligence, which is to build basically an alien mind that is capable of doing all things that a human mind can do and doing it even better than humans can do. Generate text better, generate legal papers better, generate, transcripts and, interactive therapy better. You want to build an alien brain that is better than what humans can do. And to do that, you need a lot of training data. You need to get lots of information about how people are talking and interacting and videos and photos that they create. What Character.ai is doing in that case is getting lots of training data in the form of young people providing little transcripts of all of their thoughts and all of their concerns to train a bigger and more powerful model. But this is happening again across the AI landscape with all of these companies. And they're doing it because there's this much bigger game. You noted in your intro that Character.ai was sort of kicked out of Google because this project was originally formulated inside of Google, thought to be too risky, too much brand risk. And so it was done as sort of a separate project, but then it got acquired back into Google. And you can see why it has so much risk. And the reason why Google and other companies want to do things like this is they want to gather, again, more training data to win this race to AGI in order to beat China. But this is where I think we have to get really careful about what does it mean for the United States to beat China to AI. If we release chatbots that then cause our minors to have psychological problems, do self-cutting, self-harm, suicide, and then actively harm their parents and harm the family system, are we beating China in the long run? It's not a race for who has the most powerful AI to then shoot themselves in the foot with. It's a race for who is better at governing this new technology better than the other countries are, in such a way that it strengthens every aspect of your society, strengthens kids' development, strengthens your long-term economic future rather than undermines it. So we have to figure out, how do we do AI in a way that actually strengthens the full stack sort of strength of our society? And that's what this conversation is really the tip of the iceberg about.
For those of us who have been holding our breath for the past several months, we can finally exhale in the wake of this presidential election, right? Work can finally be done on the major issues that this country's facing, and one of the most significant is our national debt. Look, the fact is our nation's broke, and that debt is a house of cards that cannot be quickly dismantled by anyone. So the strategy remains the same when it comes to your investments. You might want to diversify your savings. Virtually all the experts say that's a good idea. This is why I want to tell you about Birch Gold. So many things are out of our control and out of our president's control that it really can be important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group can help you if you would like to convert all or part of an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold, which is like a hedging of the bets. And the best news is it does not cost you 1 cent out of pocket. You just text MK to 989898 and you get your free info kit. And plus right now you will receive a free 1 ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased Silver Eagle coin. Protect your savings with Birch Gold. Text MK to 989898 and claim your eligibility for free silver today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.